Hi, friends. I hope you're doing well. Oftentimes, on Instagram in particular, I am asked the question, how does one get rid of a reading slump? So I thought in this video, I would go ahead and explore how it is that we might be able to alleviate reading slumps. They happen to all of us at one point or another, more often than not. Asking why they happen is less important than trying to figure out how to treat reading slumps as mere ordinary roadblocks instead of dead ends. So hopefully in this video, I can help provide one way of combating this feeling we all get when a page in a book is more daunting than ever. The answer I have: read a short story. There's something magical in the idea that short stories can alleviate reading slumps. Now, before we get into that, it's probably a good idea to define what a short story is. One way of defining it would be saying that a short story is a structurally brief piece of fictional prose narrative that, if done well, answers a reader's question of why bother with this? And it functions as a writer's response to a reader's expectations. Structurally speaking, short stories are confined to a small space. As such, they must be scrupulous as to the information they convey to ensure that no detail has gone to waste. George Saunders, in this magnificent, engaging book titled A Swim in a Pond in the Rain, calls this a system of transfer of energy. What does he mean by this? When he talks about transfer of energy, this is what he has to say. Energy made in the early pages gets transferred along through the story, passed from section to section, like a bucket of water headed for a fire, and the hope is that not a drop gets lost. In a good story, readers' energy sources for continuing from page to page, namely their curiosity and their care for perhaps a certain character or the way a plot is developing, these things are graciously hosted by a writer's response to profound universal musings, such as the reality of loneliness, or a writer's response perhaps to the question, what if a lonely person is unable to find a way out of her loneliness? This particular question happens to be the reality Anton Chekhov explores in an 11-page short story titled In the Horse Cart. You may have also heard the story titled The Headmistress. It was when I read this short story coupled with George Saunders' book notes on it that it occurred to me just how well situated this short story is to jumpstart a curiosity for reading that may have gone missing. George Saunders in this book uses an exercise of close reading the short story to invite his students to understand what it is that keeps us reading, what it is that motivates us to flip the page, or how it is that we come to like a story enough to read the next line. I think the same exercise could be useful if applied in the context of reading slumps. So if ever you find yourself in a reading slump or are currently in one, maybe this would help. The first step would be to pick up the short story. Clear your mind. Approach the writing with a completely clean slate, a blank page, an empty canvas on which you'll paint certain expectations that you might have from the writer. The writer's aim here will be to respond to your expectations, hopefully in non-banal, unexpected of ways. These expectations will be unique to your own personal narrative, your own life trajectory. They also, though, depend on the attentiveness that you as a reader give to some of the details that the writer offers and lays out line to line. Again, it's important to remember that no detail goes to waste in a short story, precisely because of the nature of how brief the story needs to be. The second step would be to, at each page, pause and provide a brief summary of what you just read. And this comes with the understanding that a good writer provides what George Saunders describes as artillery fire, which he indicates is an initial shot followed by a series of adjustments for precision. So here in this step, you really want to indicate what it is that struck your curiosity and where you think the story is headed. The third step, or the third part of this exercise, would be to catch the part where the writer introduces the element of a great story. And what exactly is that? It's where a character's life changes forever, according to Saunders. And I think I'd have to agree. You know, when you're reading a story, the most gripping parts are precisely those when when a character has to face a choice and or is perhaps confronted by an event that will then change their lives forever. These are the profound moments that writers and readers alike thrive on. That's the good stuff. It's sustenance. It's where your motivation to read can be found. And that's where you climb out of your own reading slump. I'll keep this video short. And there you have it, an exercise, an approach that might help you when it comes to trying to get through a phase where you're begrudgingly moving from page to page, not necessarily absorbing any of it, and really in a place where you'd rather not be reading. I hope this was helpful. I'll keep this video short. Perhaps in another video, I'll go ahead and provide some book notes and a review on the short story In the Horse Cart. But until then, I'm wishing you a lovely day, and I hope we can connect by way of comments. And if you did like this video, please go ahead and like using the button below, or subscribe, comment. My ears are open and attentive, and I'd love to hear from you. Alrighty, bye.